What you see on the screen is that I have created three identical profiles. Each profile represents a section view of a trolley wheel. The profiles were constructed using a single continuous polyline, and as already stated, a profile can be at any distance from an axis. The profile on the left will be revolved 360 degrees about the axis. The profile in the middle will be revolved 90 degrees above the XY plane, and the profile on the right will be revolved 90 degrees below the XY plane. So in the first instance, I'm going to type revolve or REV. Enter. I select the object, enter, and pick the axis with 2 points, accept the default of 360. Next, I'll type revolve, pick the profile in the middle, and press enter. I'll type O this time to select the object option and pick the left end of the axis line, and type 90 to revolve the profile through 90 degrees. Since I picked a point at the left end of the axis, the profile is revolved above the XY plane. So again, I'll type revolve and pick the lower profile and press enter. I'll type O to select the object option, but this time I'll pick the right end of the axis line and type 90 to revolve the profile through 90 degrees. Since a point at the right end of the axis was selected this time, the profile is revolved below the XY plane. Now I think would be a good time to get back to creating the drawings for the exercises. Hello again and welcome back. This is lecture number 7, and I'm going to create drawings for exercises 19, 20, and 21. As you know, there are 10 lectures in this series. Each lecture lasts approximately 1 hour. A different lecture is given each week at the same time. If you prefer that the lectures be given at a different time, let me know and I'll accommodate you. Before starting to draw the exercises, I'd like to comment about Autocad's revolve command, which is another way to create a solid object. The revolve command creates 3D solids by revolving closed polylines, circles, ellipses, closed spines, regions about an axis in 3D space. The profile to be revolved must be closed, and in addition, the axis about which the profile is revolved can be located at any distance from the profile. Let's start exercise 19 by drawing a horizontal line. We'll make that line 1.44, enter. Of course, to see it we'll have to zoom it up. Now we're going to take half of 0.78, which is 0.39. Over offset, O enter, 0.39, and offset on either side. And it is a quirk of Autocad that if you want to put a fillet between two parallel lines, you can do that and you get a full radius like so. And we want to add a circle, C enter, at the end point here with a diameter of 0.312, and the same thing with the other side. D enter, 0.312, enter. It's probably a good idea if I activate the right side and then zoom up the dimensions so that you can see them a little better. Now what we'll want to do is to make the left side active. Zoom real time, make it a little smaller, and pan to give us more room. I'm going to draw a line from the quadrant here down like that and over here. Draw another line from this quadrant. I don't really know where it's going, but we'll try. Now we want to offset 0.37. Hit enter twice, offset 1.42. Hit enter twice to offset 0.73. Enter twice, offset 0.77. Offset 0.77. Hit escape. Now we want to fillet radius 0 here and here. And we'll want to break, BR enter. Just break this anywhere so that we can fillet this side as well as this side. And I'll shrink this down so we can pan over and do the right side view. I want to copy these two lines, might as well the third one. Drag them over here somewhere. Hit escape, then draw a line, L enter, anywhere, like that, and offset that line 0.78. And we can extend, escape, EX, enter. We can extend to there, that line. And I suppose we might as well fillet radius 0, clean up all the corners. And we'll zoom in on this right side view. I know that I can fillet it 2 parallel lines and make a full semicircle, but that's too high now, so I have to move it. M enter. I'm going to move that from its quadrant here to a point that is perpendicular to this line here. Now you're free to erase this line, and you can trim from the curve these two extensions and zoom previously. I want to erase that line, copy the 2 vertical lines, move them up, escape, TR enter to trim from both of these lines. Try it again. Trim from both of these lines, but the parts that stick out. Next, you'll want to copy that hole from the center of this arc here to the center there. And now, of course, we want to change the layer and make center line current. So we can add a few center lines. We'll go to center mark and put a center line there, there, and there. And we'll want to copy this center line here and drag it over there. Then we're going to go to make hidden line current, and we're going to draw lines from that intersection down and we're also going to copy that center line as well as this one and drag them down. And we're going to copy this center line here, put it from there to there. Now we're in a position where we can trim, TR enter, from here and here, these excesses. And if we want, we can change the light scale, LTS, and make it 0.6 so the hidden line looks like a hidden line, and we can copy that hidden line from here and so forth. Also, we can draw that hidden line in this place. Undo. Follow that up. We'll draw another hidden line from here, there, and we can trim it. Trim. Seems like I've forgotten one place that I can copy these hidden lines from that intersection to that intersection. The 2D drawing and the 3 views are complete, and they look correct to me. I could dimension now, but instead I'm going to make the solid and perhaps dimension later, because I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to practice your dimensioning. So what I'll do is to zoom real time, shrink it down, then I'm going to pan. I'll put the dimensions on later, as I said. Now I'm going to copy these 3 views and move them up with ortho off, put them here, and then I'll zoom in on them, because those are the views that I'm going to make the solid model of, and so I can erase what I don't need for a solid model. I don't need this section, I don't need the center lines, so they can all be erased. I don't need this view, so I can erase this view. And I can use a fillet radius 0 to do that and that, and erase. Try it again, erase. That area. That's all I really need for the solid, except that I should erase or get rid of these center lines because I don't need them. They'll only clutter the drawing. Now I want to go to Polyline Edit, PE Enter. Make that a polyline, yes. J, Enter. I want to join all the lines in the perimeter, Enter. And do the same thing for the other side. Yes, J, Enter. I'm going to select all these lines here. Now I'm going to make a window. And I'm going to change the property. I'm going to put them all on the layer called solid. They should turn red. And I'm going to make the layer called solid current. Okay. And then we're going into this southeast isometric. As I said, I can put the dimensions on later. I'll pan over here like that and enlarge this view. And I can type EXT, enter, to extrude everything here to a height of 0.37. Then I'll want to subtract from that, enter the two holes. Then I'll want to extrude, EXT, enter this whole area. I'm going to extrude that to a height of 0.77 and subtract from that, enter that, enter. And then we want to 3D rotate this. Use the red one, 90. It's still not right. So we're going to have to 3D rotate it again. This time we want to use the blue, 90 again. And that looks right. So we want to move this view from the midpoint of that line to the midpoint of the top. And we can add them together with the union command. And I'll pan it down and we'll shade it. Looks okay. So now I'm going to type Z, enter, E, enter. Click here and type Z, enter, E, enter. When you weren't looking, I put the dimensions on the object. And so we'll go into layout mode, and we're going to go to change the layer from viewports, make it current at viewports. Okay, and I'll type MV. Hope this will come out right. With the, I'll leave a snap on. So it looks like that. Hit the enter key and make another window like that. Click inside, then pan and zoom. And that drawing looks okay. Let's see how the bottom one come out. Click on that, and the scale on this should be 1/2. So I'll go here to Annotation Scale, click on 1/2, click on the top view. Wait a minute, I fouled that up. Double click inside. I want to go to top view. Okay. I'll try that half scale again. Annotation Scale is 1/2. Okay, now I double click inside and pan. Okay, that looks alright. Then we're going to go to Layer 1 as Current and Freeze Viewports. And for all intents and purposes, this drawing is done. Thank you, and we'll go on to the next one shortly. This is exercise 20. It's a drawing of a shaft. I'm having a little difficulty reading the dimensions, so I'm going to make the right view active and zoom up so I can see the 2D drawing a little better. Okay, make the left view active by clicking on it, and now I'm going to draw a line. Well, let's say I draw it from here down 1.75, enter twice. I'll zoom that up like so, and I'll draw a line from the midpoint of it out here somewhere. Now I'm going to offset O, enter, 5.625, enter. Try it again. O, enter, 5.625, enter. And then I can offset. Well, might as well keep doing it. I'm going to offset 1.375. Enter twice. And then draw a line connecting with O snap-on, connecting these two lines here, and another line connecting these two lines here. Next I'm going to offset O, enter, 1, enter. Goes up, that goes down. And I can fill it, F, enter, that, as well as that. And I can offset O, enter, 1.75 from here to there. And I can fill it, F, escape, F, enter, escape, F, enter, with a radius 0, these two lines. And offset again, O, enter, 2, enter. No, that's not right. Escape. I want to offset again. O, enter 1.375, which is half of 2 3/4, 2.75. Okay, so I'll hit enter, and I'll move that up and down. Escape, fillet, enter. Offset again. This time I guess it's this is confusing. 2, enter. Here, over there. Then fillet, escape, F, enter. Here and here. Enter. Here and here. I'm going to erase that because it doesn't look right. Now I'm going to offset, enter, 0.5, enter. Repeat the command, offset half of 3 1/4, which is 1 1/2, and 1/8 is 1 5/8, 1.625. So I want to offset 1.625. Escape, fillet, enter, and clean up these intersections. And now we ought to break this line, this segment off here, and move it. M, enter. That. Perhaps even zoom in, make it a little bit bigger, then pan it over a bit, like that. And then notice that all the dimensions are just about 3 places. So what I'm going to do is go to Dimension Style, Modify, and primary units, go to 3 zeros after the decimal point, leading zeros, suppressed, okay, close. And the next thing to do is to type CHA for chamfer, G, enter. The first distance is 0.125. It asks for the second distance, 125, so I'll accept that. Now all I got to do is pick the 2 lines in the intersection like that and that. Then draw a line connecting both points. So the chamfer is done. The other end asks for a fillet, so I'll type F, enter, R, enter. Instead of 0, I'm going to type 0.125. So we're going to have a radius on this corner, like so, and so. And I'll select the center line, go to Property, change the layer from 1 to center. It looks pretty good. So now I'm in a position to start dimensioning, and I might as well dimension. I'll go to linear dimension, and I'll pick from here to here 1.375. Wrong, because I ought to change the layer and make the dim layer current. And so I'll go to dimension again, start it over here to here, and bring it down like that. Hit enter to repeat the command. Go from here to here enter to repeat from here to here. Well, I'll put it like that. Doesn't really matter. And then enter to repeat the command from here to there. This one doesn't look too good, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to take off the object snap. I'm just going to move it back a little bit, like that. It's always good to stagger dimensions anyway. Next, we'll go to a linear dimension with the snap on from here to here. Then we'll go from, let us say, midpoint to midpoint here. And I'll do it again. A dimension from midpoint to midpoint here. And one last time from here to here, out there. Probably a good idea. Use zoom real time and shrink it down a bit. Apparently I missed one, so I ought to go another dimension from midpoint here and what happened? That's weird. Probably a good idea to get those dimensions away from the center line. So I'm taking off O-snap and ortho. I'm just going to click on the dimension. Maybe I can stagger them like that and do the same thing here. And just click on that and drag it down just so to get them away from the center line. So that looks okay. And if we want to, we can edit. ED enter. As you know, we can click on the symbol arrow and put a diameter symbol out front and click OK. Put a linear dimension, an overall dimension. O-snap has to be on. The reason I made it a reference is because it's a duplication in a sense. You're supposed to do that. To show the fillet, I'm going to select the radius here. Then select the radius there. I can edit that, ED enter. Hit a space, F-I-L-T, and then you just click OK. And to do the chamfer, I believe it's somewhat more complicated. I'll type LE enter, which is a leader. I'm asking for a quick leader, and I'm going to pick the midpoint of the chamfer right there, drag it up here, put on the ortho again, to make a horizontal line. I've got MText, so I'll just click enter. Then all I got to do is type 0.125 by 0.125, and then I can type CHAM. Abbreviations are perfectly acceptable. Hit OK. And the drawing so far looks pretty good. We'll want to make the solid object now, so I'll go to Layer, make Solid Current, and I'm also going to freeze the dimension layer. And I'll make a copy of this object and move it with ortho off a distance away. Then I can go back and thaw the dim layer. And I'll Z enter, E enter, and I'll zoom in on what's going to be the solid model. So what I'll do is to erase this. Well, there's a lot of ways of doing it. I suppose the fastest way would be to use the fillet command. F enter. I can clean that. Oh, wrong fillet. Undo. F enter, R enter, 0. Remember, fillet radius 0. Now that I got fillet radius 0, I can clean up this intersection and this one, as well as this one. And I can also fillet this, fillet that, and erase. And use the match properties to make that a solid line. We're going to use a different technique. We can't extrude the shaft. We're going to have to revolve it. But first off, what I'll do now is to type PE enter, polyline edit, make it a polyline, yes, J to join, make a window and put them all together, make one line out of it. Then what I want to do is to select it, enter, select the object and change its layer, put it on layer solid, should turn red hopefully. And then we'll go into southeast isometric view. And I'll pan over here, probably move, enter, move this profile away like that. Zoom with the window to enlarge it. Now what we want to do is something different. We're going to call this a revolve command. REV, enter. I'll select the object, pick one point, end, then the other. I'm asked if I want to revolve at 360 degrees. I say yes, enter, and it's done. Now we can check it out, and it looks right. If I really want to examine it more closely, I can go to View, Orbit, Continuous Orbit, and just look at it. It looks alright. So I'll right click and exit, and I'll zoom, previous, then Z enter, E enter. I'll go into paper space mode. I'll type, first I'll make viewports layer current. I have to make what happened there? Viewports current. Oh, it's frozen. Okay. so we have to unfreeze it. And we'll make the viewports layer current. Type MV, enter. Undo. That's where the old snap gets you into trouble. So I'll take off the object snap and I'll do it again. MV, enter. Enter to repeat the command, and so forth. Double click inside, pan, zoom. A lot of ways of zooming. You can use real time, a window, or even a mouse roller button. Increase the size of that, like so forth. I can double click inside here, go to top view, click outside, select the window, and I'm going to type, rather go to annotative scale here, and this was at half scale. Okay. Double click, and like so. Might as well make them the same, so I'm going to Z, enter, E, enter. They look pretty close, so we'll double click outside here. We'll make layer 1 current and freeze the viewports layer. And you want to save this drawing as exercise 20, and I guess that's it for this problem. Thank you for watching. Hello again. We'll start exercise 21 by drawing a couple of concentric circles and then adding some center lines. Then what you want to do is draw a line from that intersection up, offset, enter, 0.5, enter. Now break, hit escape, BR, enter. Read the command line, make sure you got the right command. I want to break the circle there. F for the first point, then pick the second point. Repeat the command by hitting the enter key. You want to break that. F for first point, and that for the second point. And we want to trim, TR, enter. I want to trim from there that line and erase this line. Also, we want to trim from that circle, that, escape, repeat the command. I want to trim from that line, that, and the drawing looks more or less correct. Although I suppose I ought to select those center lines, change their property. Instead of being on layer 1, I ought to put them on layer center. Then I can shrink down the drawing, pan. I can draw any line to start with the top view like that. Then draw a line from that intersection up, another line from here up, another line here up, another line. Then we want to also draw another line. Now I want to offset, O, enter, 1.25. offset again, 0.63. And now we're going to hit escape, F enter, radius is 0. Let's try to clean up this mess. That looks right. That's right. I ought to break this line in two pieces, like so. Go back to fillet and clean up that intersection and that one. And trim from there. And we can go back to fillet again, if enter. And I can extend EX, hit escape, EX enter. I can extend to that line, that, enter. And we can trim from this line into that. That looks okay, except that I've got to copy. Might as well copy the center line and drag it up. That's one way of doing it. And then I can move the drawing apart so as to have room for dimensioning. M enter. Next, you'll want to change the layer and make DIM current and start dimensioning. So try it again. And remember that if you want to change these, I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but I haven't looked it up yet. In other words, I can simply take OSNAP and Ortho off, click on the dimension, then drag it to wherever I want to put it, like that. Same with this one. Hit escape. And you will remember that if you want to edit these dimensions here, to add a symbol, you just go to symbol, diameter, puts it in front, and I can do the same thing with this one. And you can even click on that and sort of undo. You can just click on it and move it away so as to make the drawing clearer to understand. And now I guess we're ready to to make the solid model. So we'll go to Layer and make Solid Current. We'll use Zoom Real Time to shrink this down, and then Pan to put it in the lower left. Then I believe I'll copy the front view and make 2 copies like that. I'll zoom in on the copies, erase that as well as the center lines, and then be able to trim from the arc into those portions. Next, I want to erase from this portion that and that. So now what we have to do is convert them into polylines. I'll type PE enter, select a line, want to make it a polyline, yes, J to join, make a window. Now it's all one continuous polyline. PE enter, do the same here. Make it a polyline, yes, J enter to join. And I suppose we really want to select it all and place it on layer, not one, but solid. Should turn red. And we can go into southeast isometric and pan and zoom and extrude. So we'll type EXT enter, and the small one should be extruded to a height of 0.63. Extrude again by hitting the enter command, and the large one should be extruded 0.62. Enter. Now we can move the smaller object from its bottom center to the larger object's top center. Let's try it again. To the center, and we're able now to use the union command to join them both together. Now what I really want to do is see what it looks like. Okay, so I'll go back to the wireframe model. So now we'll have to use the 3D rotate command, and so let's see what it looks like. Alright, there it is. Just rotate it 90 degrees twice, and it looks correct. It is correct. We'll Z enter, E enter. Move into top view. Move into paper space. Make layer viewport current. Type MV enter. And do it again. Double click inside, southeast isometric, pan, zoom, double click outside to get back in the paper space, click on the 2D frame, check the annotation scale, and this is supposed to be at half scale. Click on a half. Didn't look much bigger. Oh, I forgot to change the dim scale. Brilliant. Alright, so I'll go back into model space here. And I'll just put any old dimension here. No, I guess I have to type D-I-M-S-C-A-L-E, dim scale 2. I'll pick any dimension like that. No, I should be on layer, dimension, current, and I can put a dimension anywhere like this. That's how big it should be, and I could use the paintbrush to match it. However, and then I can pan, erase. I can separate these to give them more room. However you want to set it up is okay. So I'll go into layout mode again, double click inside here, and then pan. Yeah, you can fool with the dimensions and such to make it look better. Double click outside. The important thing is it's all the dimensions are correct, the drawing is correct, etc. So we'll now make viewports current and freeze. And we'll make layer 1 current and freeze viewports. And that drawing is adequate. Thank you for watching. This video will show how to align two objects in 2D. The first thing to do is to make the command line active, type AL, enter, and select the objects. I'll select them with a window, enter. I'll have to pick the first point, but I need OSNAP to be on, so I'll connect these 2 points, then I'll connect these 2 points. I'll press enter to end the command. The selected objects are moved from the source point to the destination point, and second and third points, if I specified them, will rotate and tilt the selected objects. In this video, you will learn how to draw an arc by specifying 3 points. I'll pick on the command line to make it active, type A, enter. And I will need a start point. OSNAP is on, so I can pick this point. Then I'll pick a point for the arc, and then the end point. I could do that again by hitting enter or the space bar to repeat the command. Take my first point, second point, and end point. Now we'll see how to use the break command to break an object, whether it be a line, a circle, or an arc. Of course, we'll make the command line active and type BR, enter, which is the alias for break, and we'll select the line, and we're going to take OSnap off, and what we have to do is pick a point. You don't have to actually touch the line. I can repeat the command and pick another 2 points like that, or whatever. Keep doing it. Either go right to left or left to right, it doesn't matter. This time I'll hit enter or the space bar, and I'll select this line here. I'll type F enter, put the object snap back on, and select my first intersection and then my second intersection, and you see that the line in between has disappeared. Also, we'll take off the object snap, we'll hit the space bar to repeat the command, and we'll try it on the circle. We'll pick 2 points, hit the space bar or enter key, another 2 points. You'll notice that I'm doing it counterclockwise. When you break a circle, you always have to do it counterclockwise. You don't actually have to touch it but get close to it. And that looks reasonably well. In this video, we'll learn how to chamfer objects. I have here a plate and a round shaft. So the first thing I'll do is to type CHA enter, then I'll type D enter, and I'll type 0.25 enter. That establishes one distance. I'll hit enter, that establishes a second distance. Now all I got to do is select 2 lines. Hit enter or the space bar to repeat the command and select another 2 lines. Repeat the command by hitting the space bar or enter key, and then do the last one. As far as the shaft goes, I'm going to type CHA enter again. Try it. CHA enter, D enter. This time the distance will be 0.06. Enter, and I'll enter it again because I want it at 45 degrees. So now I'll select the corner, repeat it down there, and again on this side, and again here. And since this is a shaft, and looking at it from the outside, there should be a line here. So I'm going to put a line with object snap on from here to here, enter, repeat the command from here to here. And the drawing looks correct, so we'll move on. In this case, we will learn to draw a circle by specifying a center point and radius or diameter. And so I'm going to type C enter, then I'll type R enter, and with those snap on, pick the left end point, move the mouse. I'll type R enter for the radius and type 0.19, enter. Repeat the command by hitting the enter or space key. Select the other end of the line. Now I'm going to type D enter, and I'll type 0.75 enter. And that looks right. In this case, we're going to copy an object using 2 points. So on the command line, I'll type CO, enter. I'll select the circle on the left, enter. A base point, I'll select the quadrant using object snap, the quadrant, and I'll put that at the end point of the vertical line. Hit escape. Repeat the command. I'll select the circle. I'll pick the quadrant again, but this time I'll pick that left side quadrant, then bring it over here and put it at the end point there, and hit enter or escape to complete the command. And that looks okay. Here in this video, we'll learn how to insert points to mark equal segments. The first thing I want to do is to type PDMODE. The reason for that is I want to make sure I've got a mark here. 0, 1, 2, 3 all have different marks. So I'm going to accept 3 as the mark. Now I'm going to type DIV, enter. I'll select the line, and I'm asked for the number of segments. I'll type 3, enter. I'll repeat the command. I'll select the circle, and they ask for the number of segments, and I'll type 6. So those X's are PD mode 3, and that divides the line. I could draw lines, I could break at those points, and incidentally they're called nodes. These X's are called nodes. So you can break different segments and so forth. I don't think that the erase command requires much explanation. All you have to do is type enter, and you can select individual entities to erase, or you can hit enter, then you can type enter with a crossing so that anything you touch can be erased, or you can make a window so anything encompassed by the window will be erased, or you can undo. I think that's enough for the erase command. The extend command is pretty straightforward. I'll type EX, enter to extend. I'll select the circle, enter, and then pick any of these points to extend it to the perimeter of the circle. Repeat the command. I can do it one at a time. I want to extend to that line, enter. Repeat the command. I want to extend to this line, enter, that line, enter. Or you can do it multiple at once. For example, I want to extend to both of those lines, enter, then I can extend it like that. That's all you have to know about extend. The fillet command is extremely useful, and I use it all the time. I'll type F enter, R enter, 0.19 enter, and I'll select these 2 lines. I'll do it again. F enter, R enter. This time the radius will be 0, enter. This is a command you'll use constantly, because I can make a right angle whether the lines are far apart or whatever. So you want to be sure you learn the fillet command, and that's all there is to it. Here we're going to use the hatch command. I'll type H enter. Dialog box comes up and I'm asked to select objects. So let's say I select the rectangle, enter, dialog box appears again. I don't wish to make any changes to the scale or whatever, so I'll simply say OK. I'll repeat the command. This time I want to change the direction of the hatch marks, so I'll change the angle from 0 to 90, and I'll pick a point. I'll select objects. I'll select the circle, enter, dialog box appears, you click OK, and that's it. Kind of easy and straightforward. Autocad is not as hard as many people think it is once you get into it. Sometimes it's easier to use the mirror command than to use copy or move. In this case, I'll use mirror. MI, enter. I'll select the number 2 on that side, enter. With O snap on, I'll pick that vertical line. I got to pick 2 points like so, and you hit enter. You notice that the 2 does not invert. And I guess that's it for this video. The move command is also straightforward. Simply type M enter, select the circle, go to the intersection there and drag it to the end point like that. I could mirror that to put the circle on the other end, but instead I'm going to repeat, or I'll use the copy command. So I'm going to copy this, enter, from the quadrant on the left side and drag it over to the other end. Hit enter. And that's that. In this video, we'll offset a circle and a rectangle by specifying a distance. And so on the command line, I'll simply type O enter, and then I'll type in a distance, 0.1, enter. And I can offset the circle any number of times. And also I can offset the rectangle in both inside and outside, as you see. Hit escape to clear the command line, and that's that. In this video, we're going to use the petted command to join polylines, lines and arcs into a single polyline. Of course, you have to have a single polyline as shown in red here in order to be able to extrude it in 3 dimensions. So, to begin with, I'm going to activate the command line and type PE enter. It says select a polyline, so I select a line. I'm asked if I want to turn it into a polyline. I say yes, enter, just hit enter. Then I want to type J enter to join. In other words, I want to join to that line which I just made a polyline, all these other lines. So I select them all and hit enter twice. Now that is a polyline which can be extruded. So it's same with that one. This is also, petted is also useful to create wide polylines. For example, if I was to type PE enter and select this line, which is a polyline, I can type W enter and specify a new width for all the segments. So I'll type 0.1 125, enter. Repeat the command, select the second line, W for width, enter, specify a new width, 0.375, enter. Repeat the command, select a polyline. An arc is a polyline. No, it's not. So I guess I have to turn it into a polyline. I'll say yes, enter, and then I'll type W, enter, and specify a width of 0.062, enter. And that's another example of the polyline edit command. In this video, we will create a polar array, and so I'll click the command line to make it active, type AR, enter. Then click on polar array and select objects button, and I'll select the object. Hit enter, dialog box appears again. I'll click to pick a center point, which will be at the cross section. The total number of items I'll change to 10. I want the angle to fit to be 360 degrees, and so I'll click OK. In this one, we will create a rectangular array. We'll type AR, enter on the command line and select rectangular array. Now we'll want to change the rows to 2 and the columns to 3, and we have to select the objects down here. The dialog box appears again, and we should put in dimensions. The row offset would be 0.48, and the column, no, my mistake, the row offset would be 0.59, and the column offset would be 0.48. Then we'll click OK, and that looks all right. The rotate command is another one that I use quite often. All you got to do is type RO, enter. I'll select this line and select the base. I want the line to go clockwise, so it has to be a negative number. So I'll simply type -30, -30. Repeat the command. This time I'll take this vertical line, enter. There's the base point, and I want to do -30 again, -30 again. Then of course I would copy, CO, enter, this line in order to make the before and after the same. We'll learn about putting dimensions on later on. And that's that. The scale command is also pretty straightforward. Just types SC, enter, select the object including the dimension, because the dimension will change when you scale it. I'll pick the intersection there, and I'll make it scale it by a factor of 2, enter. And that looks right. I want to drag it down with grips though to improve the appearance. You'll have to take O snap off to do it right, like that. hit escape. And that is done for the scale command. Using the trim command is also very helpful. Just type TR enter and I'll select, say, these two vertical lines, enter. So from those lines I can trim that one, and that one. Or I can just type F enter and draw a line. It's a fence. Then automatically all of them will be trimmed at once. Or I can trim, I'll hit escape, repeat the command, I can trim from this circle anything on the outside like that. Or if I wanted, I could even trim on the inside like this. I'll hit escape and undo that just so I'll try it one more time, and this time I'll type TR enter. I want to trim from the circle, enter, and I'll use a fence, F enter. So I want to get rid of those lines, enter, trim again, select objects, F for fence, and then just do it backwards like that. And that does it for this grouping of simple basic AutoCAD commands.